we have a very, very special episode of See It Like Strev coming up. We've got one of the most dialed in individuals I've ever met. The pride of Edinburgh University, where he broke every single record there, a 16-year professional, multiple-time All-Star, multiple-time league leader in all statistical categories, 3-time Grey Cup champ, Grey Cup MVP, father of 4, I think, at the ripe age of 40 years old, the starting quarterback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Ladies and gentlemen, Trevor Harris. How you doing, man?
Appreciate you having me on, man. It's great to get an intro from the New York Jets legend himself.
Come on, stop it now. Stop
No,
it.
man, I'm dead serious, man. In our room, Jack Cohen, he's a New York Jets fan. And so, like, when you came up here, he's like, bro, Streveler is a legit legend in New York. He's like, I don't think you guys understand, man. He's like, when he was there, people were like calling for him to be the starter. They were like, he's getting stopped in the streets. Like, oh my gosh, you're Chris Streveler in New York City, like the biggest city in the world. And so, like, you're the man. I appreciate you having me on, brother.
Hey, this interview is not about me, but I have been getting a lot of love from Jets fans on social media lately. So I appreciate that. I got to get him on. I might have to have a conversation with him.
Yeah, you got to get him on. He loves you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Hey, did I get that right? Are you 40 years old?
40. That's like, when you said
40.
that, my little chill went through my body. I was like, whew, sounded cool until then.
I think it's even cooler. You get to 41, get to 42, it becomes even cooler. Like, I watch you from afar. I watch you out there, and the way that you're playing right now, do you think you're playing the best ball of your career at 40 years old? Because you could make the argument, man. Like, you're playing great.
Appreciate it. I do think I'm seeing it better than I ever have, which if I'm not at this point, then shame on me. I think if I've gotten to this point in my career and I'm not seeing it better than I ever have, then I've wasted a lot of time in reps and wasted some off seasons not continuing to film study. And I think I've heard somebody say this before, and I think you can probably agree to this. As soon as you stop ascending mentally, you're officially a deteriorating asset. And so, like, I've kind of taken that to heart throughout my whole life. And so the fact that I'm able to see it as well as I do right now, and, maybe you can't run like you could when you're in your 20s, but if you can get to your 4th and 5th read, you really replace that need for the mobility to be able to run. Instead of me running the ball for 8 or 9 yards, I can get it to my check down on my 4th or 5th read and get it to them, let them kind of do the damage there and be a little bit more effective than I would be with my legs.
Yeah, and I see that. Like, when I'm watching you play the game, you process information so quickly and you're so decisive with the ball. And I've seen you pregame out there going through your mental process. Like, how do you get so locked in during the week? Like, talk me through your process during the week, because to process information that quickly, to anyone who doesn't know or hasn't played quarterback, that doesn't just happen. It's through having a great process and studying throughout the week. Like, do you do anything special through the week that helps you get that dialed in?
Yeah, it's kind of evolved through the years in terms of how I prepare for games. And, I've always heard coaches say, use the whole field. You ever be able to use the whole field. And I've kind of taken that to a new level in terms of, like, not just being able to spread the ball to this part of the field, that part of the field, but in concepts, you're going to have, something like an out and a go, and then backside, you'll have maybe like an under and a 5-yard, in route as a check down. But a lot of times we kind of are getting to the point where we're throwing intermediates as resets, which is pretty difficult. And, like, when you get through certain portions of the week, you can start to understand what concept or what coverage is this front side concept not good against. And is it good against their backside, what they do on the opposite side of the field? And so if you can get to the point where you're canceling a concept on the front side, you can actually, in your first 3 steps of your drop, it might look like I throw, a backside dig on 3 and a hitch. But really all I'm doing in the middle of my drop is just canceling that concept in my first step and a half, and trying to move some interior triangle defenders and then be able to get to a dig a little bit quicker than I maybe have been in the past. And so that's probably just a little nuance of, like, the way I've been able to kind of do things. But I'm trying to just continue to learn and grow. And everybody that you play with, as you can probably attest to, every quarterback in your room has a different way they prepare, and you can kind of pick up little tidbits from everybody. And throughout the years, I've gotten to play with a lot of really, really smart guys. And one of the guys in my room, Jack Cohen, he's a really, really smart guy. And even though he's younger, he's able to kind of give some little gems of stuff. And, we've kind of taken the prep to a new level, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've heard great things about Jack, and exactly to your point, man, everything I've done through my career is like, hey, I'm in a room with Aaron Rodgers. Hey, I'm in a room with Colt McCoy, Teddy Bridgewater. How can I grab little bits and pieces of these guys' process and the way they process information to help me get through my reads a little bit quicker? And you talked about throwing intermediate routes as, like, on your backside progression. I love watching you get to the front side and whip your eyes and feet around and rip that backside dig. You throw that ball better than anybody, and it's like when I see you flip your hips, I know that ball is going to be a completion, man. You love that backside dig.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of it's good. It's a little bit more difficult, but you have to kind of trust your pre-snap clues or your at the snap clues for what that is going to be, because you got to go a little bit of a peek, because if you've got safeties that are or corners that try and like overcut dig routes, you really can't do it very much. And so you'll have to build stuff on the backside where maybe you run a dig return if you've got guys that like to overcut digs, or if they like to have safeties play your eyes and then redirect and rob. Maybe you've got to do post curls so that you can kind of stop them and throttle them in certain windows. And those are parts of the week where your prep you have to really be dialed in on, in terms of, okay, if we don't like this concept, what can we build backside that makes sense? Actually, one question: when you were with Rodgers, does he really go cover? Does he build his kind of way he goes about his process from the defensive line to the linebackers up, or does he start with coverage and then go down? Because I've heard he starts with the front for everything.
Aaron's front back. Like he loves the front, and that's something that I had never been introduced to till I was with him in New York, and he just started talking about fronts and different indicators that came off the fronts, and I kind of started to go down that rabbit hole with him. And I mean, the way that he sees coverages and remembers plays, it's unbelievable. Like I felt like if there was a calculus level of football, that's the way that he sees the game. So yeah, he's front back, and that's how he always approached it. And that was the first time I ever learned of somebody doing it like that. Are you top down, or do you do front back as well?
Toward the end of the week, I start like dialing in more toward fronts. Like this front, they only do this blitz and coverage out of this front. And so if you get that, it's kind of just like, antennas up. But as you know, during a game, man, you get to like play 54 of a game. It's hard to come out and be like, oh, they're in an over G shade. Or, the three tech's a little shaded over he's a 3-eye now. It's kind of like, you're kind of just like, it's 2nd 7. Where's the freaking boundary halfback here, And so you try and get some sort of coverage clues, but you do try and dial in on that during the week, because if you can get a quick clue like that, like last week I had a quick clue on something that Hamilton was doing, but next time we play him, it's probably not going to be that way. And so you've got to do it every week. But I was just curious because I'd heard that Rodgers does that, and it's probably a pretty fail-safe way to do things, because fronts do dictate everything.
Yeah, and then like you start going down the rabbit hole of like gap responsibility too. Like when you see the front, he's super dialed in the run game and checks and different things like that. So when you see the front, okay, you understand the gap responsibility, and then you see the bubble in the defense. Okay, that's where the blitz probably coming from. And again, the way that he was able to articulate that and see it was really unique, and something that I've definitely carried with me as I, coach quarterbacks of all ages, of like, let's dive into the fronts and some of the tendencies that can come from that. Because like you said, if you can get even a little bit of information on a team, I mean, that's what we're looking for as quarterbacks in our preparation.
Next level stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. I want to jump back, because you said when we were talking about the backside dig and some of those throws, you talked about the trust that you have in your receivers and your guys. And I love watching your receiving core. Keyshawn Johnson, we played together in Arizona. You've got Schaefer Baker. You've got Emelis. Like the way that you spread the ball around, I just want to hear like your take on your guys' receiving core, because I've been standing on the table saying it's one of the best in the league, and I can just see the trust you have in those guys, the way you throw them into windows. You throw Bender to Keyshawn when he wrapped the wheel in Ottawa. I just see the anticipation you throw with, and you can't do that if you don't have that type of trust in your guys.
Yeah, that's kind of just like, you get to the football 301, not calculus level like Rodgers, is more your guys learn where you're at and what you're thinking in terms of when you reset your feet. And really in the CFL, there's so much zone coverage, man. And man coverage is making a little bit of a comeback now, because as you saw early in the year, quarterbacks are just feasting on these zone coverages. And when you're playing against zone coverages, it's about throwing to space. And can your receivers find the space on the same timing that your feet are telling you? And that's what has been so awesome about Keyshawn, Shafe, and Sam. Those guys are just elite at feeling the space in zones, to the point where I see their jersey flash and they know, based off of the way of, I've redirected my front shoulder, if I'm going to lead them into window 2 or hold them in window 1, based off how the defender's playing. And that's part of the prep during the week. And those guys are awesome at it, man. And I don't know how an NFL team didn't wrap their arms around Keyshawn and say, you're going to stick here, buddy, because you're freaking awesome, feeling these zone coverages, and veteran quarterbacks love guys like that. And shoot, Sam and Shafe, they're absolutely elite too. And they're also good after the catch too, which is awesome. And I just feel like we're just kind of getting started in terms of raising our level of play.
Yeah, and having all those guys healthy, like I feel like when you guys are all healthy and that receiving core is rolling, like you kind of just have to pick your poison because those guys all have great feel. And like going back to Keyshawn, like he's not the fastest guy in the world, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but his feel for the game and his strong hands, man, I love his game. I love all those guys' game. And you know who else I love their game? Tommy Stevens. I got to ask you about Tommy Stevens because I've started to develop a little bit of a relationship with him, going back and forth. The edge that he brings when he comes in the game. I'm the guy standing on the table saying teams need wedge guys. Obviously, with my role, that was important in my career, but I look at what you guys do. When you trot him out on the field on 2nd and 1 or 3rd and 1, it's going to be a first down, if not an explosive. And then you see last week, he's able to go in these like run the clock situations and close out the game. What type of edge does he bring to your team? And like, how does that feel when you're coming off the field and he's about to go out there and get you an automatic first down on 3rd and 1? Like, it's just a great feeling.
It really is. And I'll tell you what, you guys got a lot of mutual admiration for each other, man. You have to have Tommy on one of these days because, he every day we're in film and we're watching, going through our install, and he's got his iPad up. He's watching film of you doing short yardage, just trying to pick up little things that you do. And, he talks quite a bit about you as well. And so, but it is super comforting when you're coming off the field on 2nd 1, 3rd and 1.5, and you see old 17 trot on the field. It's almost like when you go out there, it's like, shoot, they're getting first down. Finally you have that on your own side. And so Tommy goes out there. It's really comforting thinking about like, all right, where are we going to be at here? We'll get 3, maybe 12 here, be on the right hash. And, he is awesome. And the guys absolutely love it too. We've got our Tommy time package where he comes in at the end of the game and people go 9-minute boxes, and it doesn't seem to matter right now. We're able to kind of just move the pile on those, and they're having a lot of fun with it. And people in Regina are really loving it too, man.
They are. He brings an edge, and that's a gritty city, just like Winnipeg, man. They love that grit out of a quarterback. And I know he's down the rabbit hole with the wedge package because one day he sent me a message on Instagram, and it was a video from 2018 of me throwing on 2nd and 1 and hitting Streveler for a touchdown against Sask in the Banjo Bowl. So I'm like, this guy's down the rabbit hole watching this film. But hey, perfect your craft, man. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing is like I feel like the best teams you've been on, everybody's a superstar in their role. And I think that's really underestimated in terms of football everybody has egos. It's pro football, man. It's an alpha male sport. But can you be a superstar in your role, and whatever that role is, be elite at it? And I noticed you come back from the NFL. I was like, man, Strever's going to be a starter. Come up here. And you came up and bought into what your role was in Winnipeg. And I thought that told me everything I needed to know about you as a person, as a player. And Tommy's the exact same way, man. Deep down, he wants to be an every down quarterback, but he buys into that role and he's elite at it. And I know you guys would get along perfectly, man. So it's, you guys remind me a lot of each other in terms of personality.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot coming from you. And, I'm just big on add value any way you can, right? It's about the team. How can I add value? If I'm playing special teams, or am I the wedge guy, or what can I do in the room to help the starter prepare? I just think that's what makes a great quarterback room. And it sounds like you guys have that too with your dynamic, Jack Cohen, Tommy Stevens. Like, it seems like you guys have a great room, which just makes coming to work so much more enjoyable on the day-to-day, man.
Yeah, it's palpable too, right? I mean, like you could feel that with you and Zach in the quarterback room in Winnipeg. I mean, shoot, I saw you play receiver, running back, quarterback in the same game last year. And we've got guys that just want to be on the team, that want to do their part and want to be one of the guys. And we've got a really elite culture here. And it starts with our coach, Corey Mason, our coaches. And we've got great guys in the room too. So it's a great time to be a Rough Rider for sure.
Yeah. And that's championship culture. And you guys got it done last year. And I mean, watching it from afar, obviously I was a Blue Bomber, but man, I was so happy for you getting to get that done. Like, I've been a champion. I've been there. I've held the trophy, but for you to be the guy and go get it done, I mean, can you even put that feeling into words?
No, I hate to say it was more of like a relief. Like people, fine, just get off my back, man. Just let me play football because it's, as you know, man, we all fall in love with this game. We don't fall in love with like the fame or glory or chasing some sort of trophy. I just like to play ball, man. And like, that was my whole thing was after the Grey Cup. I was like, I just like playing ball. I wasn't like satisfied that we won the Grey Cup or like the rings are cool. The ceremony's cool. The parade's awesome. The fans love it. It's great. But ultimately, like, I just love to play ball, man. Like, there's nothing really more satisfying than like, drawing up a play during the week, studying it during the week, getting a certain coverage on that down and distance. Your primary's open, you rip it on time, or if your primary gets closed and you reset and freaking throw an underneath route for 2nd and 8, and you just look at the defense like, you just love those things. That's just football, right? And that's ultimately what we all love about this game, I'd hope. And that's for sure what I love about it.
Yeah, I think when you've played the game as long as you've played, and any professional quarterback, you just love the process, man. Like that's what it's about, is coming on the day-to-day basis, putting the puzzle together, figuring out a defense, going through the week, and then you end in a win and you get to have a couple beers with the boys and hang out. Like, that's the process. And then you repeat it again, man. And that's what makes playing quarterback so great. You're never going to play a perfect game, but you just dive headfirst into that process and hope that it comes out in a win.
Amen, man. And that's really what it's about. And I think that we all kind of chase, like, be the best, be the best, be the best. And ultimately, like, I don't even know if that even matters, Trev. I think to me, it's like our coach told us something earlier this week that really rang home true to me. And I think it's just a good message for the listeners out there, is be the best at getting better. And that's really, like, to me, what it's about, is don't worry about being the best. Be the best at getting better, because then you're chasing the best version of yourself, as opposed to, like, all these, outside forces and people, like, trying to, appease the panel or, people on social media. Just be the best at getting better and being the best version of you,
Yeah. And I see that from you, man. You are a grinder. You've got the mindset. I got to ask you a couple just quick hitting, fast questions. And then I got one final question. I'll get you out of here. I know you got your family at home and everything. I got to ask you, what's your favorite thing about playing in Saskatchewan?
Small town feel. Football is really important. Kind of, that fits me. It fits me the most, I think.
What's your pregame meal?
Believe it or not, my wife makes pregame meal, like breakfast, and then I don't eat till after the game. I like to play on an empty stomach, but I've been having some cramp issues this year, so I think I'll have to start maybe getting like some sort of like smoothie or booster juice or something, man, because like I think maybe I'm just low on carbs or something. But yeah, I usually don't like to play with anything in my stomach.
You know what? I hear that from a lot of guys. Every single guy I've interviewed so far says they eat a big breakfast and then they just shut it down for the rest of the day. So you're not alone on that one.
What was yours?
What's your favorite place to go on the road?
My favorite place to play aside from Saskatchewan has always been Ottawa, but I don't know, man. There's something about going to Winnipeg that I love, and like a couple years ago, I had said something like, it feels like, you're, Rocky going to, Russia to fight Drago, it's just like, like you got all that animosity. You kind of love that, right? Because how many times when you were a little kid, you're in your backyard, you were down by 5 and the crowd was going crazy. You couldn't hear anything. Those are the situations you dream up when you're little. And so I think you get to live that there.
Yeah. And it's the same thing on the other side. Coming to Sask for Labor Day, it's the same exact feeling, man. So I get that. I got to ask, I watch a lot of your film, man. I love watching you play. What's your favorite route to throw?
I think I'm a bender guy. I think bender's my favorite thing to throw. But those bad digs are really nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you guys call them cutters, or what you guys call them. Like, those bad digs are really fun to throw, because when you lift it over a will and he jumps up and doesn't get it, that's really the fun ones to throw. But I would just say I'm just like a bender guy. I've always been a bender thrower.
Yeah, that's how I know you're a CFL OG, talking about throwing benders. Yeah, those are the ones, man. And you get it out so early, like the backer doesn't even have time to react. It's just buzzing off his ear and it's a completion. It's unbelievable. Hey, all right, I got one last question for you, and I always like to finish up with this question because it's something that's kind of near and dear to me right now. When I retired, people were asking me, what do you want your football legacy to be? If your football tombstone could say one thing, what would you want it to be? And so I want to ask you that question. I know you still got some meat left on the bone, but when you're done, what do you want your football legacy to be? What do you hope people say about you? What do you want your football tombstone to say?
Man, I would just say I would hope my teammates would know that I turned over every stone I could for them, and that I really did love. That would probably be, in short, what I would probably go for, is that I really love my teammates, and that I turned over every stone I possibly could to become the best version of myself for them. I'd love to hear yours, though. What was yours?
Mine was, I just hope people say that I was the ultimate teammate. That's all I cared about, is just making sure that my teammates knew I was going to give everything I could for them, that I loved them, and that's the only people that's opinions ever matter to me. Is just, if my tombstone said ultimate teammate, that's a mission accomplished.
Well, everybody I've ever talked to, that is true. You've affirmed that. I've affirmed that from listening to people that play with you, man.
Well, hey, brother, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate you being generous with your time, especially on a bye week, man. Thank you for coming on, and I hope we can do this again soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Strev.